knockdown analysis and prediction. I just got off the phone with Muscles. So if you guys follow Muscles on, he's always on Gary's page. I've had him on the channel before. And we're just kind of like, I feel like we're mining. We're mining for parlays. And what I've learned from the last few weeks in terms of not having a favorite ruin my parlay, this weekend I'm hedging my bets with some prop bets. So we'll get into that. Guys, wherever you're tuning into this, like this video, comment, take part. This is my second live stream today. The plan is moving forward to do live streams twice a day from midweek onwards. We're building our parlays. If you caught the early morning one, I gave you my long parlay. And in this one, I like a knockdown prop bet, and we could go over that, as well as this Nakatani versus Nishida fight. We just broke that down. So many fights, guys, all around the board. I know a lot of you Americans this morning, a lot of the people living in America were saying that the sports bet, your sports book wasn't offering a lot of the fights. I'm interested now to see if you guys have all the fights and what those odds are. Because currently in my book, there's so many fights. Like we're over, I mean, at least there's cards. The cards start tomorrow in Montreal. And then you have the Hall of Fame fights in New York. You have the top ranked card in Virginia. We have the card there's two cards in the UK with Fabio Wardley and versus Justice Hooney, and then the Josh Taylor card in the UK, and then obviously the card in Australia with Jai Apataya, and then the card in Tokyo. What's up, Carlos? And the card in Tokyo with Junto Nakatani. So, mate, there's so much. There's a lot of opportunities to make money. What's up, Carlos? I appreciate you guys. Wherever you're tuning in, I say thank you. Like this video, and we could get started whenever you want to start shooting away. If Mac, if you catch this live stream, I know you've been commenting on the videos. Mac was saying that he likes the Nakatani fight to go the distance. He says Nakatani by decision. I find that interesting. A lot of the people I've been talking to are saying that they like Nakatani by mid-round stoppage. But we're going to get into a knockdown prop bet that I want to talk about. So, yeah, input is highly appreciated. I know a lot of people are kind of torn on the Keshan versus De Los Santos fight. We could bring that up. That was a hot topic this morning. We got some good conversations going on there. People were torn on the Tiger Johnson versus Boca Chica fight. That's an interesting one. That has the community kind of cut in half. What other interesting fights? People were cut in half with the Kelvin Davis versus the Kelvin Davis fight. So versus Albright. There's a lot of going on, man. Because the Callum Simpson fights this weekend. We didn't even talk about Callum Simpson. That's in Yorkshire. The Yorkshire card has a lot of good fights on it, man. Callum Simpson versus Ivan Zuko. I probably won't be able to get to that fight. Those are two guys in the top. Callum's ranked number 13. Vargas, I appreciate you, man. Kelvin Davis on my parlay. Let's go. Man, I appreciate you, Carlos, for liking, supporting the channel. And I like Kelvin, too. What round do you think Apatai gets a knockout? BR215, I appreciate you on the channel. And great question. It's only a matter of time. I think it depends what mood Jai's in, right? Jai's a powerhouse, and he's finally getting, I think, the world-level respect from the regular fan base, because you're seeing bigger names being asked about him, and, you know, other champions want to fight him, and Jai is a beast. I say in the first half of the fight, being specific, you know, I don't have a lot of luck picking specific rounds. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, BR215. I'm thinking something early, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You know, the fight could end at any second. He's in Queensland. He's in his home. I expect him to put on a show. There's some good fights on that card, too. It's tough for me to get. I love Aussie boxing because I live in Sydney. And sometimes it's tough to cover all the fights. But that card has a lot of money to be made, too. The Jai. Not a lot of big names on it, but the odds are looking nice. They loaded it up with a lot of feeder fights, a lot of guys supposed to win. So you could ask away. If Callum Simpson, if you got him on your parlay, I think that's a lock. But guys, the prop bet that I like, and I just put it in our post section. So if you go to my channel now, because I've been kind of burned the last 2 weeks picking, having a favorite on my money line long parlay and losing, a la Plant and Josh Taylor. I'm gonna do something different this week. I think I'm going to do a knockdown prop bet, and I put it up in our community section. So if you want to go to the post section, you could see it. You could do it. It's the Fabio Wardley and Justice Hooney. It's a knockdown prop bet, and the options that I love on that, $1.45 for over half of a knockdown. So if you're feeling Wardley wins and you want more juice on that ticket, Wardley's only $1.33. Now, I'm siding with Justice Hooney on that fight, but on a separate ticket, so I could watch the fight with neutral eyes, I'm going to take the over half of a knockdown prop. What's up, GOAT? So if you think that one of those guys, Fabio or Justice, will get knocked down somewhere along the fight, all you need is one knockdown. The prop is paying $1.45. So 0.5 of a knockdown. So even one, 145. I love that. And then Nakatani, the Nakatani fight, pays $1.67 over a half of a knockdown. So if you put those two on a ticket, $1.67, $1.45, if you think that there's going to be a knockdown by any guy, the Wardley fight and the Nakatani fight, parlay those and it pays 2-1. And so I'm thinking about going heavy on that. I could definitely see a knockdown in both fights, and that way you could watch the Wardley fight and not really have to focus on an outcome. But on a separate ticket, I'm taking. I have Hooney, obviously. Guys, what prop bets are you taking? I'm interested in knowing. What's up, Goat? What are your props? Do you guys add in any more fights on your parlays? I saw some tape on Hooney, who got hurt by a cruiserweight, pretty much will not stand. Yeah, Ella goes. So you're talking about the fight against, everyone brings up, he got stunned against the southpaw, and it's a good fighter. The dude he got stunned by was a crafty guy, Verena, Kevin Verena, and he stunned him. And he didn't drop. He overcame it. It was late in the fight. He was winning the fight. He got caught. And then also there's that sparring footage that people have been sharing online of Hooney getting stunned as well. But credit to Hooney, he finished it. Yeah. So however you take, whatever you take into that, if you feel comfortable, I don't know. You could do the same exact reasoning, though, and talk about what Wardley looked like in the first fight against my mind is fried. I've been doing this for 6 straight hours. I'm so conflicted. I want to bet on so many damn fights. I know. The Fraser Clark fight. So if you want to do the same reasoning, you could easily say Fabio Wardley got outboxed against Fraser Clark the first fight. Oh, gold member, that poll was for you. Yeah, I think it's about 70-30 right now. Interesting. And it's interesting to see the people who are supporting Devin. And then, interesting question. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tough to... I think it's a great question to kind of discover how so many boxing fans convolute emotions with skill set, because there's fandom involved. People are think about it. Think about what we had to deal with. Do you see Hooney surviving the first 6 rounds versus? Yeah, I do. Hooney's I see Hooney definitely surviving the first 6 rounds. I got Hooney winning. I got Hooney by decision. Carlos, I agree with you. I think Justice beats Fabio. I'd like to see one for Teo now. Okay, I'll do one for Teo. And from a skill set perspective, Teo's frustrating to cheer for. But he's a character. Boxing's historically filled with guys like Teo. I just feel like he needs a little bit more leadership from the top. Somebody that he'd listen to. But it's tough when you're so young, so successful. And has done so much already in that young career. It's tough for any kid in their 20s to take advice from anyone. So I don't judge him on that. But, yeah, I'll do a poll for you, gold member, on Teofimo. It's interesting to see the career trajectory, what he's going to do next. It's like 2 days ago, people were talking about that fight with Devin was going to go down. And then 12 hours ago, they said the fight is off. And I don't report on stuff like that until it gets official. Would I watch Haney versus Teo? Yeah. I think, yeah, so do I, gold member. So do I. Just I won't lie, I have a few parlays, and I took yours on Hooney by decision. I'm cheering for Hooney as well. Yeah, Ali goes, and do you guys like the knockdown, over half a knockdown on the Hooney Wardley fight? Do you think that there'll be at least one knockdown in the Hooney Wardley fight? I'm loving that bet right now. We're going to see what Abdullah Mason is made of since he's finally fighting some of his own size. Yeah, I think the guy he's fighting is 5'11" too. He's bigger than him. Dang, we got a lot of guys going with Huni. This is a good fight. Yeah, it is a good fight. Watch the tape too. So, like I said, you could focus on Huni getting stunned against Varina, or you could focus on Wardley on getting outboxed against Clark, the first one. So, Huni's a better boxer than Fraser Clark. Don't get it twisted. In terms of what he's done, his amateur pedigree, what he's done so far in his pro career, yeah, Huni's going to get flat. Okay, so go. We see if Huni gets flatlined, we win that bet. You take over half of a knockdown in the Huni fight either way, and you take over a half of a knockdown in the Nakatani fight, and you're at 2-1 money. It could save the whole weekend. You go 10 grand pays 20 grand. I talked to my boy. He wants to throw 25 grand on that prop bet. 25K to win 50. So you get your 25 back and you get another 25. That's if there's one knockdown in the Nakatani fight and there's one knockdown in Wardley, you double your money. Go to your betting apps. I just found that one out about 5 minutes before we went live. Yeah, guys, could you like this video? We got 20 people streaming, 4 likes. That's all I ask for you. Like the video, comment. Let's engage. It's my second live stream of the day. It's my Thursday. It's your Wednesday. Expect 2 live streams daily from midweek onwards. We also just uploaded the Nakatani breakdown and analysis. The thing with Nishida, guys, Nishida turned pro in 2019. Nakatani turned pro in 2015. Yes, but the odds are legit on Huni and Keshan by knockout and decision. I got a little bit of everything. Yeah, the props are going to be fun. And then don't sleep on... there's a couple money lines out there. I know, but I'm afraid of Mason now. I don't think the Mason fight's going to go the distance, guys. I know people keep bringing up that Alamo fight. This would be fun. Opetai rounds 1-3 sounds tasty. I like Key Nut. Damn, you guys are coming in hot. Mac thinks that I brought you up earlier. You the best, bro. Live streams. Manny in the house. Woohoo. Not going the distance. So Mac thinks that Nakatani's going the distance. Huni and DLS for that money. Ella goes, good luck. Any parlays for tomorrow's card? Yes, Randy. I'm glad somebody asked. I do got action on tomorrow's card. Montreal. There's some good fights on that card, guys. You got I like the Turkish guy. So Albert Ramirez is fighting. You got Uno fighting. 2 guys in the top 30 light heavyweights are fighting on that Canadian card. I got Keshan and Huni. And then BR Slanov. So I'm taking on a money line who asked about the Canada card. I'm taking Mehmet, Albert Ramirez, and Bir Salav on the money line. I got Keshan decision, Junto decision again. Do you have several sets of parlays? We're putting them all up on the feed. This is our week. We got, let's go, Carlos Vargas. We out here eating. So, guys, yeah, there you go, Mac. Damn, it flew by. I think Nakatani. I missed your comment, Mac. Sorry, what was I saying? Is the Mason fight might go the distance is big. Yeah, I agree, David. It couldn't, but, in terms of statistics, I think they will all run Ramirez, the Chechen, Christopher Mehmet. Yeah. How about the and then if you guys look at that card with Callum Simpson, there's some interesting cards, man. Yeah, Callum Simpson. They just added Adam Azim too. I'm afraid Mason might get clipped with something and fight a cautious fight. I could see it happening, but in terms of outcomes, I like what I saw with Mason getting dropped early and then stopping him. He has all the talent in the world. We'll see if that durability holds up. He's already ranked, I think, in the top 15 worldwide. Nakatani 7 through 12 could knock out 50-50 distance. Okay. All right, cool. So it's not like you're 100% convinced it's going the distance. 50-50, I respect that. I think that Mason fight, so do I. I think Mason wins by stoppage, and I was going to get to that. I like playing odds. Mason, why not keep riding the knockout streak? Same with Nakatani. Nakatani, 23 out of his 30 victories by knockout, 4 in a row. His opponent, 10-0. His opponent has a 20% knockout to win ratio. He's 10-0 with 2 knockouts, fought for a world title in his 8th pro fight, only been a pro since 2019. And granted, Nishida, he has the fight, but Nishida's not as good as Takai, the guy we covered last week in Japan. Do you guys have Nakatani by decision or backup parlay? I'm taking a Nakatani knockdown parlay. I'm taking over 0.5 knockdowns in the Nakatani fight and over 0.5 knockdowns in the Wardley fight on a separate ticket. O'Malley loses to Merab. Merab's a beast. Merab's a nightmare to handle. Didn't Ricky Simone beat Merab? I used to interview. I mean, I had Ricky Simone on my show when he just broke through in the UFC. I think he either was coming off that Renan Barral fight or the Uriah Faber fight. But I think somebody look that up. Go to Tapology. I think Ricky Simone has a win over Merab, and he's a guy that really is a fringe contender. But Ricky Simone's a monster. But do I think Mason gets Jeremy Nakatani out of there? I think he does. I feel you, David Easter. Nair Fox, legit isn't that good. Yeah, Shakur, I got to see if my bookie bets on knockdowns. Yeah, so ever since Muscles and Gary on 3D Boxing put me onto the knockdown prop, I feel like a cult, like a miner, or like an archaeologist. When an archaeologist is like searching for old artifacts, I feel like that lately, looking for knockdown prop bets. And the two that I like are I think there's going to be at least one knockdown, and this is the last one I'm going to say it. There's going to be at least one knockdown in the Fabio Wardley fight. There's going to be a knockdown in the Nakatani fight. I'm convinced. That pays 2-1. I'm going heavy, guys. Ricky Simone, how you doing last fight against Basharat? You needed that. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. Ricky has like up and down results, but he's a dog. His wrestling, his grappling, he got a little bit of hands too. Prospect used to be Brandon Lee, same. They're not pushing Brandon enough, guys. Abdullah stoppage is definitely a lock, David. We don't have the odds yet. Abdullah Mason, man. He's so fun to watch. Nakatani, super dangerous. Dude, Nakatani, the thing about Nakatani, guys, he's a boxer, puncher. He fights at range with a good jab, but he'll fight you in the pocket as well. He has knockout power, and he doesn't rush his work. He's a different style just because they're both from Japan. He fights totally different than Inoue. And, you got to talk about who he's trained by. You got to talk about Rudy Hernandez. The work Rudy Hernandez got Junto Nakatani when Junto was 15 years old. So even though Junto's from Japan, lives in Japan, Junto trains in America, in LA. And I think Rudy is training at, I think he's at LA Boxing in East LA right now. And he doesn't get spoken out enough. Matt Borgerson, I appreciate you, man. Do you feel like putting money on Edwin to win is crazy? I feel like people sleep on Edwin like Murtazada versus Zoo. Shakur performance is a scope. Great question, man. For how you feel people are sleeping on Edwin, and I appreciate you supporting my channel. I feel what we're looking at with Keshan Davis at 135, with everything he's done so far in his career, who his camp is, Bomac, the tutelage under Crawford, and Shakur being his boy. I think we're looking at something special with Keshan. I do. I think Keshan is that dude, and I think he keeps leveling up. I think he's gonna beat. I'm comfortable with him beating De Los Santos. And also, guys, De Los Santos he hasn't fought in 18 months. When we talk about this fight, we have to talk about activity versus inactivity. Keshan fought 3 times in 2024. Fought once already in 2025. De Los Santos hasn't fought since 2023 against Shakur 18 months ago. So if anything, if you think their skills even out, you gotta weigh that. Might be fight of the night. Mac. Callum Simpson versus Ivan Zuko is a fight to watch. I got the card right up now. And that's a fight where the winner will propel themselves, hopefully, on the world level. Can you please post the money line parlay? Nadi, the guy. Okay, I covered it last stream. I'll post it tomorrow. I'm a big fan of Yoenis Tellez. I should have won on Tellez knocking out Jay Ruckle. Everyone lost money on Tank Stop and Roach. I think Keshan is better than Shakur. I just think, Keshan, how do we measure energy, guys? Like Carlos Vargas, I appreciate guys tipping, man. God bless everyone. I'm fighting with my girl, but this channel, gambling brings my joy back. Oh, don't fight, man. I apologize that you're going through it with your girl. Hopefully things work out with you, man. I know that could be tough. That could be draining. So if we bring a little bit of joy to you, man, you're welcome. And I'm glad that you're here. But the fighting with our loved ones, man, it's a tough one, mate. Keshan is not better than Shakur. I don't think Keshan. No, I'm not saying Keshan's better than Shakur. Where I was getting at is the energy. Like Keshan brings that young, youthful energy. He's meaner. Keshan's meaner than Shakur, and they have different fight styles. You know what I'm saying? You can't compare the two. They have different fight styles. I think physically they're a bit different. Even like, they're two opposite styles. Matt, appreciate you. I love Keshan, but measuring his last two performances has asterisks. Okay, Lemos didn't seem to take it serious. Well, Baranchik was a very weak champ. Yeah, Baranchik did. Interesting. So, Matt, you bring up 2 good points. So, the validity on both your points. I see that there's a narrative, but on the other side, people would use the Lemos stoppage in Norfolk as an electrifying performance, and then people would use the performance against Baranchyk, which I agree, he did look flat, as him becoming a world title for the first time, a world champion. So there's two sides to that. Red Johnson beats Harley and Umar. I have that on my parlay. I got Red on my parlay. Red Johnson's on that that card in Yorkshire. So guys, you got Callum Simpson. I like Mark Jeffers, Reese Edwards. I got Red Johnson, and they just put Adam Azim, but I'm not getting odds on that. Adam Azim's a nice little prospect fighter. He's ranked number 6 in the world. He's a contender, right? People don't really talk about him too much internationally, but Adam Azim got he got the goods. We have so many fights, Mac. No one's even talking about that Hall of Fame card. I got some channels, some of the old timers that I watch, these old reporters. They're all about the Hall of that New York card. Baranchyk was one of the weakest champs. I agree. Weaker than Barrios. What do you think about Barrios at 47? Lemos blatantly came. Yeah. What I always say when we're dissecting past performances or trying to do boxing math in relation to a potential future outcome, a fighter can only fight who's put in front of them. You know what I mean? A fighter can only handle their business, and Keshan's been handling his business. And in my opinion, weaker than Barrios. Yeah. Borgerson. Matt, have you heard rumors about Barrios this fight? Some people on the stream have been saying that Barrios is notably on something, saying he's physically looking different. Salute Billy Adams. Keshan will box his ass off, pick him apart. Keshan could have changed in those last 2 fights. I think Keshan's leveling up, guys. I think Keshan, what I'm seeing in my issue with Barrios is, he's had some flat performances lately, and if a flat Barrios comes in against a 92-year-old Pacquiao, man, who knows? I'm probably staying away from that fight, the Manny fight. And I know Gary from 3D, he thinks that fight won't even go down, won't even happen. If anything, I think Keshan only gets better. Yeah, same. He's 26. Keshan's 26. Guys, remember, De Los Santos is 25. Barrios probably isn't on PEDs. Yeah, I was just wondering if you heard that being floated around. It's been passed around in my live streams. People have been asking. I haven't heard anything. I've been watching his training. I always like the way Barrios carries himself. I always liked him as a fighter. I think, though, at 47, that's the right. If Pacquiao was coming back, I mean and he wants to go walk into a world title shot. That's the fight, right? He's clean. I've seen him. No way. He's clean. Okay, you heard it first from Matt. He's seen him. He's clean. I have Keshan decision. I think DeSantis is good enough to make the distance. Okay, but Mac, do you think that Edwin De Los Santos' style allows him to make the distance, considering what Keshan does really well? Because if De Los Santos starts losing down on the cards and he's losing rounds, and he's not making adjustments, and he's still coming forward, I mean, I could see a stoppage late then if that's the case. So you could see Keshan winning a decision based stylistically, because I could see it going the other way. I could see it being close, and then depending on whose cardio, whose conditioning holds up, I could see a late stoppage in that fight. Have you looked at Brandon Moore versus Stanley Wright? Brandon Moore's last fight. They WD'd out of the ring onto the announcer's table. Are they fighting in New York? Is the Brandon Moore fight in New York? Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. He's fighting Stanley Wright. Wow, that's a good fight, man. Keshan likes to tap with the jab, and De Los Santos will follow up with an angled hook. So, Matt, how do you see... Matt, decision in that? Stayed away from Brandon Moore. I see an upset. Yeah, Antonio, that fight's close, man. Stanley Wright could win that fight. And the big boys could crack. It could end anyway. I don't like fighting on domestic level heavyweights either. Another... no, knockout. Okay. You come to the Dominican. Matt. So it's hard. I really think it'll be closer than y'all think. Okay, you think Edwin's going to knock out Keshan? Or other way around. I missed that. If Diaz was off for 18 months, I would have been 100%. But inactivity, and if it goes 12, I think it'll be a draw or controversial. Okay, and there are a couple fights on that card, Matt, on the Norfolk card that are kind of up there with, you have to think about, like the Kelvin Davis fight versus Albright. If that's close going to a decision, Matt, go heavy on a knockdown prop. It's almost even money. Yeah. So you think we're going to see either De Los Santos or Keshan get dropped? Goat, is that what we're saying here? I think Santos try the outside game and try to win on points. Okay, that would be the smart move, Mac. Do you see? I don't see De Los Santos winning more, outpointing. Okay, both. You boys got me. You boys got me second guessing my. No, I'm confident. I'm confident in Keshan, man. I am. I'm definitely. I like the energy he brings, man. I like him leveling up. I like his corner. I like his camp. All my reasoning. When I fill my bucket up with my reasoning, Keshan's bucket's a little heavier than De Los Santos's. Now, granted, you know, De Los Santos comes in and, you know, fights his tail off. He's younger than Keshan, so it's not like De Los Santos was washed or old. And, you know, somebody said he had time, that 18 months off, he healed a shoulder issue. And so at 25 years old, neither guy is even in their physical prime yet. Davis, who's waiting cautiously to see what he brings. Definitely this fight is going to be definitely a knockdown. God, I love these fights, man, because we have to imagine either Keshan flattened or De Los Santos flattened. And which it's hard to imagine something that we've never seen. I don't see this fight going 12. That's why you got to love boxing. Keshan's had issues with Cubans and Dominican. Yeah, but guys, this isn't the same Keshan. And he's referencing Andy Cruz and a couple other fights. But you got to admit, though, even what Keshan looked like 2 years ago, it's not this guy. I didn't think Keshan's trajectory would have been this quick, especially in the last few years of how he's leveled up, you know, basically his arsenal, his game plan, and his execution of the game plan. And you got to give all that credit to Bomac. That's a coaching thing. Also, you have to give Keshan a tip of the hat because he's coachable. You know, we see a lot of times when these great coaches, great corners, and the fighters just don't listen. I don't have the knockdown bets. Keshan wasn't even the same against, especially compared. Yeah, totally different, man. You know, we always bring up some of the amateur. I mean, think about GAR, what he did to Boots in the amateurs. And think about Sean Porter beat Usyk in the amateurs. So how much weight do we want to carry the amateurs? You know what I'm saying? Do you remember when Sean Porter beat Usyk in the amateurs? That happened. So you can't. That's always my asterisk when we start trying to do boxing maths on what happened in the amateurs. Coming off same Havelock in the house. Santos, sit back and wait for counters. Wait, what? Wait, I haven't what? Guys, make sure you like this video. We got a hot one going. Isley and Conwell will be interesting. I'm still pissed off about Conwell laying a dud against Chinito. He's fighting Xander Zayas. Is that fight official? Does anyone know if that Chinito Garcia and Xander Zayas fight is official? I heard it's close. David, Usyk was a great amateur, though. That should count for something. Yeah, of course. But Usyk right now is being talked about as one of the greatest cruiser and heavyweights of all time, and we know that Porter, you know, smaller guy, that fight will happen. Xander, you know, Xander's just waiting for his chance too. I'm high on Xander Zayas. Swindle, what have I hate Big Mouth Caleb Plant. Yeah, Carlos, we talked about that before that fight. Have you tried to bet live? I'm going to try to bet live this weekend if they let me. Coe and Darius lost money in Conwell. Yeah, you guys were right about Coe, guys. Whoever picked Coe, I tip your hat. You guys called that. Big Mouth for nothing. Official July 26th, Xander Zayas. That's a great fight. I can't wait for that fight. Awkward styles have historically been issues for Bomac fighters. I mean, man, we could say awkward styles are awkward styles, right? You know, are there, on paper, who would you say even handle, are there fighters off the tip that you even know that do well against awkward guys? You know, awkward styles are interesting. I lost money on Conwell, too. I know he didn't have any plan B or C. Conwell just stuck to that one game plan, entered the pocket, not showing anything. He has one show. I got to meet and greet with Canelo today. Raw dog in the house. Canelo, how was he live? A lot of money to be made. Mac, right? Going the distance. You boys are on fire, man. Where'd you meet Canelo at? Where is Canelo at? Do you guys think Canelo's washed, man? I've been watching podcasts. People are talking about Canelo's washed. They think Bud's going to walk through him. You think Bomac is the best coach in boxing? He's up there, man. I respect Bomac's work. With Bomac, you know, I respect his game planning. I like how you could see his fighters executing a game plan. Pacheco, that's Pacheco versus McCumbee. McCumbee is a dog. And if you watch the last 2 rounds of Pacheco's last fight against a Bomac fighter, when he fought So Cold Nelson, Nelson started coming on in later rounds, man. Pacheco's still young, though. I like Pacheco. I like what he does. His brother just got a victory, you know, last weekend at heavyweight. Super raw talent, though, his brother is. Diego's the one to watch. I see a lot of Hagler, Leonard, Canelo, and Crawford in L.A. Short blew my mind. He's not a big dude. Nelson was 38. Yeah, he was. But it was, you know, he did his part, though. He did his part. I was cheering for Nelson. He won the late rounds. If that fight's a little bit longer, I thought Diego was going to have to answer some questions that we haven't seen him answer. Love the Norman versus Sasaki fight going to Japan. Havelock. Hats off to Brian Norman Jr. for taking that fight. Hats off for Norman Jr. traveling as a champion. Sasaki's not going to be an easy out. I think that fight is, I'm not going to say 50-50, but it's close. Now, when we watch Brian Norman Jr. in his last fight we covered here, he did, yeah, it could be an upset, Matt. You know, and I'm still torn. I got to dive deep into Sasaki's career. But I did like what I saw from Norman in his last fight. He did tie up some defensive holes, especially entering with his guard a bit higher, a little bit more patient as well. He's still young too. He's one of those champions that has a lot of molding and a lot of seasoning to happen. He's not a finished product, but so far from Brian Norman Jr., there's a lot to like about him. Goat, Carlos. You got Goat laughing, mate. I don't even know what you said. But guys, wherever you are, we're 30 minutes in. Like this video. Norman got buzzed a little bit in that first round. Yeah, he closed the show, though. Boots needs to fight Teo or 154, nothing. Yeah, exactly. Boots is such a fun fighter to watch, though. I like him at 54. He cuts so much weight. I want to see what like a replenished Boots looks like at 54. You know what I'm saying? Swindle, what you got? What's good? DJ in the house. Canelo now. Okay, yeah, Rando. People, some of the boxing heads are saying that Canelo's watch. Have a good day. Mac, you too, brother. Be good. Norman has the better boxing skills, not afraid to punch. That's the thing. And Ryan, you could fight Norman's ego. He'll fight you in that pocket too. Pretty sure Ortiz snatches Boots though. Virgil's so tough to cheer against. Man, Virgil Ortiz, one of the most exciting fighters to watch. When you watch the Virgil against Boacek and then the Virgil against Madrimov, and then you watch the Boacek against Virgil and then the Boacek against Michael Fox, it's kind of, you realize styles make fights, but you realize the depth of Virgil's arsenal versus Boacek's. Virgil has a little bit more versatility to what he does. A lot of people might see what Virgil does and it looks a little bit one-dimensional, but it's not. Virgil could box. I always try not to forget to hit the like. Yeah, hit the like button, guys. Be over. I can't believe Teo turned down the Haney fight, especially after all that whining. And Havelock, you know, who knows what's going on behind the scenes with those guys, man. That division frustrates me. That whole era of guys frustrates me. Carlos, I agree. The heavyweights. Ortiz, Madrimov, 100% AJ. Love that fight. Ortiz, Boacek too, mate. That Pacheco brother needs a whole lot. Yeah, he's not a finished product. Just threw him in there. Holding on for dear life. I heard it's still happening. Yeah. But the Virgil Boacek fight was good. We'll see what they do with Serhi's career, man. Who's managing Boacek? What about Bakram Murtazayev, guys? Who's managing that guy's career? Nobody's putting their hand up to fight. Could you imagine if Boots was like, yo, I'm going up to 54. I want to fight Bakram. Who would win that fight? No one's talking about that fight. Who do you think Ennis would be able to beat Bakram Murtazayev at 54? I want to see that fight. And I mean, we got Zoo fighting Fundora. But would you watch it, Matt? I mean, think about it. Bakram's a scary proposition. But Boots by stoppage. Jaron stops Murtazayev. That's how you create a legacy, though, right? Like all these fighters talk about legacy, man. Jaron, move up to 54. Stop weight draining. Get belts up there. Fight these champions. Because, all right, Fundora versus Zoo, whoever wins fights Boots. Who wins that fight? So what if Boots fought the winner of Zoo versus Fundora? Bakram is signed a main event promotion. That's why he's in purgatory. I know. It's unfortunate. I wish he was more active. He ruins bank accounts. Bakram. Yeah, he's a nightmare he's a nightmare to fight. And unfortunately, in boxing, that's where some of the corruption lies. Ennis won't exchange. He'll box his way through. But, Carlos, we've seen him exchange before. We've seen Boots in a dog. But I think you could lure Boots into a dog fight. I have some 16 parlays, but I might do shorter ones. Is Bakram just going to be ducked for an eternity? I know. I hope not. And Bakram is better against opponents who stand right. Yeah, Boots will outbox him. Ryan. And I think there's some same thing with, like, how Boacek looked against Michael Fox, even though, you know, Fox didn't win a round, but Boacek couldn't cut the ring off, couldn't really hit him. Fox was a welterweight coming up to 54. Boacek was 5 pounds overweight. He looked pretty average. He didn't even look like the same guy against Virgil, but Virgil chose to fight Boacek's fight standing toe-to-toe. Bakram has a little bit of that in him as well. So, but there's still interesting matchups. You know, like the belt Crawford's holding at 54. In a perfect world, if I was in control, you move up to another division. If you're a belt holder, you're no longer a belt holder. You need to free those belts up, mate. He'll get beat up like Tim Tszyu did. Yeah, Tim Tszyu's game plan was horrific. How do you see Tyler Blizzard and Ogden? Are they fighting this weekend? How did I not know Rocky Ogden was fighting? That's on that. Oh, that's on the Apataya card, right? It's a good domestic fight. You know, Johnny, have you long? Yeah, Ella goes, I put a 20-legger up already. On my live stream this morning, I gave you guys my 20-leg parlay, and I put it up. I'll print that out after this live stream, and then I'll put it up in segments. It pays 12 to 1. Well, shit. Last week, you know, we hit the 7 in Tokyo. We hit the Mexico parlay, but we lost the plant parlay. But the week before, we hit Japan and we hit Australia. What time do you lay your parlay? 20 leg. Bro, we hit them though, mate. You gotta get on the you gotta get on the 20 leg. Cause I sound like a crackhead. Yo, mate, I got this 20 leg parlay for you, boy. They hit, dog. But I sprinkle a little bit on the 20 legs, and every now and they hit. But I'm going heavy on the knockdown prop bet, and I'm going heavy on another 4-legger that I'll give you guys tomorrow. But I missed some of those comments. I saw Moses, people more legs than the centipede. Yeah, man, we're leggy out here. Somebody was talking about Moses. I hate parlay, all that talk, and then for all that talk on his end for nothing. Let's go. Fast car in the crib. What's up, boys? Like this video. We're always interested in seeing the opposite end of the debate. We got some folks saying De Los Santos, some folks saying Keshan. You know where I'm standing. I think Nakatani's going to stop Nishida, mate. I got a couple 16 parlays and a couple shorter ones, 12 or 14. Carlos, you're a beast. I think Anyway might take his first L. Matt, I like MJ, man. It's weird that I thought that everyone was up on MJ, but you know, the Uzbek fighter we're talking about, you know, he does have that. He has one loss, but how he goes about his business, he just won by stoppage. He's a marksman. That's a good fight. It's going to be a competitive fight against Anyway. Yeah, in Uzbekistan's just printing them out. They're just printing out these fighters like money. Like, you know, it's like a printing machine. And his style, fun style. And we'll see how much Anyway, how he handles that issue. It's a tough fight for Anyway. Yeah, tamales during Ramadan. And I saw and didn't Bakram's fight before Zoo where he looked sluggish, that was during Ramadan as well. What are the feeder fights looking for you? The website I use bet. Yeah. Jay, that's the 20 leg. There's like 15 locks on that. The way MJ can punch backwards, that vision, and his accuracy, AJ. MJ's super accurate. He doesn't waste a lot. And his shots, it's almost like some guys load up. Some guys have a little bit of fat on their shots. When MJ punches, it's like that. Everything is just, he's so technical. He's fun to watch. If you guys haven't watched him, Akhmadaliev, Morijan Akhmadaliev, MJ. Fun fighter, dangerous fighter. And hats off for Anyway for taking that fight. Is that official in September, Matt? That might be kryptonite inactivity makes openings harder to land for Anyway. Yeah, I think people are saying it's September. I haven't looked to see if that was official. It makes sense. Not trying to pay for. Yeah, I heard Gary from 3D Boxing was talking about the book he uses only was giving him like 12 fights. I'm like, dude, I got Sportsbet there's like 50 fights, guys, September 16th. I got 50 fights starting tomorrow. We have so many fight cards. So like that's why I got the 20 leg, I got an 8, and I'm going super heavy where a lot of my money right now, I'm super comfortable on that knockdown prop. I've said it 3 times on this live stream. If you got a couple hundo to throw on, or my boy's throwing a couple stacks, all you need is one knockdown for the Huni Wardley, and all you need is one knockdown for the Nakatani fight, 2 to 1. Yeah, 50. Okay, there we go. We're getting our money here in Toronto. I got a hunt for certain fights. You got to be an archaeologist. Same day as Crawford and Canelo. Damn. Okay. Naoya Inoue on Crawford Canelo card versus MJ is ridiculous. Betting Inoue to win coming off the canvas is a nice throwaway bet. I don't know if you guys remember, but I picked Inoue to get dropped. I put that up in our chat. So I won. It was 15-1. I put 100 on anyway to get dropped and to win against Cardenas, and it happened. And I was screaming at the TV. That's like my most recent over the last month prop bet was that one. Post one on over and under. Yeah, I did. So I posted, it's in our post section. I posted my knockdown prop already. I'll ride with those. Yeah, fast car. It seems legit, don't it? I mean, we could sometimes reason with a lot of our picks, but this one I'm really legit with. You know, I was calling Muscles on the phone. I was like, bro, what do you feel about this? I could definitely see a knockdown in Fabio's fight. And Johnny, you think it's more likely to be a knockdown in the Nakatani fight than a knockdown? Yes, 100%. I 100% think there's going to be a knockdown in the Nakatani fight. In the Keshan fight, to see a knockdown, because it's hard for me to see either Keshan or De Los Santos on the ground. Will it happen? Can it happen? Yes. But I could see Nakatani flatlining Nishida. And, you know, I could see Nishida being brave as well, and getting off the canvas at least once. So I definitely think we're going to see a knockdown. And especially the range that Nakatani fights at. He hits the body with that back uppercut, mate. Cardenas would be. I'm a big fan of Ramon Cardenas, man. I gave him his flowers before that fight, Matt. If you watch the channel, nobody did that's one thing I take pride in, is that when I'm breaking down the videos on the production side of things, I do a fair, equal analysis on both ends, the A fighter and the B fighter. And Ramon Cardenas, when I was breaking that fight down, I was like, this kid is tough, mate. You know, I was reaching out to one of my buddies who lives in Texas. He's a boxing coach. He knew about Cardenas. He was like, he's tough. And the thing that most impressed me about Cardenas was his film study. He talked about it. He studied that Neri fight. He waited for that opening hook. He knew anyway it was going to come on that front foot. Yeah, that's his best win, stopping Ryo. He stopped Ryo. You know, he did. And Ryo didn't look good in that fight. It was before Ryo was a world champion. You know, it was before he caught him early, and he never really recovered. And I think that's De Los Santos at his best against Ryo. And he was young. I mean, when did that fight happen? I think Edwin was 21 during that fight, 22. People don't realize De Los Santos is 25. He's younger than Keshan. Ryo looked worse. Yeah. Gary Antoine Russell, though, mate. Matt, Gary Antoine Russell, that fight against Ryo, he showed guys like myself who always cheered for him his potential in that fight, because he kind of laid a dud the last half of the playoff fight. Do you feel Nick Ball's ego get the best from Luis Neri, fight official? I'm not that high on Ball. I'm not hating on any fighter. Yeah, dude. I'm not hating on Ball. It's just what he seems a bit. I don't think he's at that. I think there's levels. Gary lost to Puello, so I don't know. Gary was winning that fight. Gary faded in that fight, and Gary made adjustments in his next fight and looked amazing against Valenzuela. It was one of the. Dude, you want to talk about a near-perfect performance for a world title? Watch the GAR fight versus Ryo fight. It was amazing to watch him fight like that. And that's why people were so high on GAR in the amateurs in his pro career. We just didn't see it. Going into the playoff fight, guys, GAR was 17-0 with 17 knockouts. But a lot of guys who came up with him were passing him by because the Russells aren't active. And so he fights Puello, was looking good early, and then faded, and then lost the decision. And then, you know, kudos to whoever got him the world title shot, gets a world title shot against Valenzuela, and looked amazing. So it'll be interesting to see him again. I bet on GR to win by decision on Ryo fight. Yeah, I took GR on the money line to just win. He was slight dog, too. Justin Paldo, I have him on my parlay. Any feeder fights I'm staying away from. Yes, the heavyweights. And from now on, I'm not betting on any fights in Thailand either. There's no Thai fights, but some of those Thai matchups are insane. Versus Matias. On my book shows Matias the favorite over Puello, and I just don't see it, guys. I don't. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Watching how the southpaw goes about his work, I'm talking about Alberto Puello. Watching what he looked like against Valenzuela. Now, granted, what he looked like against GAR. Granted, I thought Sandor Martin, even though I had Puello winning and I won money, and I picked Puello to win, I thought Sandor Martin beat him. So we'll see. I think Puello's obviously could outbox him. Here's my thoughts on Kelvin Davis fighting Albright. His opponent is tough. A lot of people see Albright winning that fight. The thing is, Puello's left hook is beautiful. How he moves going backwards. He's silky, too. Everything he does, he's real loose with it. He's a pretty boxer to watch. You know, if you're into the minutia of the technicality of the sport, there's things he does really well in the ring, and he understands the game. But watch the Sandor Martin fight. Sandor Martin, I brought him up on our last live stream. He's lost more close fights. If you are a Spanish fight fan or, you know, a Martin guy, you have to be so frustrated with his career because he loses so many close decisions. That guy, like, think about it. He just doesn't quite do enough. If Parle can outbox, that was my point, Havelock. Kevin versus 50 fight, we need to talk about it. Yeah, a lot of people think Albright is going to be too much for Calvin, but people said that Calvin's going to get home cooking decision. Her Matias working with Pro Box, Nick Flaz. Nick Flaz looked good in his last fight. I think Matias is cooked too a little bit. I think Matias is a bit one-dimensional because I wouldn't put Pero. Nick Flaz though, didn't he get stopped against? Didn't Albright stop Nick Flaz? Is that who I'm thinking of? Oh no, that's Bosa Chica. Martin's like the Ken Norton. Yeah. So the dude fighting Tiger, Boca Chica. I'm high on Tiger Johnson. I know you wanted to talk about the Albright fight, but I'm higher on Tiger Johnson just because I'm from my roots are in Northeast Ohio, and I like what Tiger looked like in his last fight, his first fight at 47. He's fighting Boca Chica, who hasn't won since 2021, hasn't won a fight since 2021, and people were selling me on Boca Chica. But Boca Chica did stop Nick Flaz, but that was like 5-6 years ago. And Flaz is, you know, has a few losses. He's a fun fighter to watch. He just won. I think he was on a Pro Box card, won by stoppage. But there's a lot of good guys out there, mate, who just maybe their careers aren't being managed right. That's why it's so important to have guys who are managing your career properly. Think about, I like Tiger, but I'm concerned about his progression as a pro. I'd love a new trainer, maybe Bo Mack to help him sit on. Matt, his last performance, he looked a lot different at 47. Stopped a guy, I think it was Kendo Tremendo, who had like 7 losses but had never been stopped. Hitchens has been avoiding Matias, so I don't know. But yeah, my instinct is saying that Tiger Johnson is going to fill out that, is way more comfortable at 47. He looked better. He looked sharper. And, he stopped Kendo, which is kind of a domestic level guy. Has been in there with some good guys. I think he had 7 losses going to that fight, but he had never been stopped. Tiger stopped him. We won money on that pick as well. So, yeah, guys, it is 12 o'clock. This is 45 minutes. I scheduled these live streams in with the day of mine. I got a box here in an hour, so I got to get ready. Stay tuned to the channel. I'm uploading Jai Apatai, and I think I'm going to either get to Tiger or that Albright fight. I know we got to talk about Kelvin Davis and Albright. I'm going to do 2 lives tomorrow. Stay tuned to the channel. Guys, like this video. I appreciate everybody supporting. Goat, you're a beast. Carlos, you're a beast. Matt, you're a beast. Stay up and stay tuned, and let's get this money. I'm in Sydney. It's 12 o'clock noon on Thursday here in Sydney. I bid you adieu.